Hello, and welcome to this special edition of Oils and Emotions. Why special edition? Well, the class was held earlier, and I pressed record, and for some reason, it never actually saved. So I am coming to you again. I had quite a few who requested the recording. I was going to just do it another day, but because so many are asking for this recording, I figured I should get it to you today. So, here I am, and we're going to do this class again. The information is hopefully going to be very beneficial for you. Hopefully, you'll learn a couple of things um, and see really how powerfully our bodies are made, even though we know that. When we go through this information, it'll just give you a deeper appreciation for that, as well as how amazing essential oils can be when we use them for these targeted issues. So we're going to get into that. I'm going to screen share now, and we'll get going with this class. All right, let me present this to you big so that you can see it. Oils and emotions. Okay, so let's dive into it. First of all, we're going to hit you with some statistics here. 87 to 93% of disease comes through our thought life. We'll explain that as we go through this class, what that means exactly. So, our thoughts become emotions, and your emotions become attitude. Your attitude is the reaction, and all of our daily reactions make up our lifestyle. Okay, so it goes from thoughts to lifestyle. When you think, you build these thoughts, and these become physical substances in your brain. And that's clear. Like if you think, for instance, of a cute little puppy, it's a thought of a cute little puppy. But what happens when you think of a cute little puppy? Like you can't help but smile and have a positive attitude, right? So it really does just show just a very simple illustration, but how your thoughts really do impact how you feel and how you go about things. And when it's negative emotions, as we'll talk about, this here, this number starts to become very real. But we get to see how to counteract that issue. So it all boils down to two kinds of emotions, positive and negative. Positive emotions are love-based emotions, while negative are fear-based emotions. So let's kind of see what those two are about. Love-based emotions. Here we have a beautiful example of an adorable couple who are obviously very much in love, right? Their thoughts are not of um, anything else but the appreciation that they have for each other. So, these attributes that you see here, these emotions, love, joy, faith, trust, happiness, self appreciation, respect, acceptance, peace, all of these um, are what make up our thought process. When we have these thoughts, turn into emotions and then actions. However, what happens with fear based emotions? Um, Fear, anger, disgust, worry, anxiety, sadness, jealousy, negativity, stress. Um, it makes sense that stress, all of these here, really are just a sign of fear. For instance, you might be very stressed. Maybe if you have kids or if you're married, very stressed about your husband going to work, right? If he's going to get there safely, then if he's going to be safe at work, if your kids are going to be safe throughout the day. Um, if they go to school, you're stressed about something happening to them there. All of that what is that really based on? It's based on fear, fear of something happening to them. So this is just to really understand where these emotions truly lie. However, we were made to love others. Fear is learned, it's not a natural response, whereas we were made to love. So, fear based emotions turn into toxic attitudes and toxic responses then in the body. How does that work? How can your body or emotions turn into toxic responses in your body? Well, your emotions are stored in different parts of your body. Here's an example of where these emotions lie in your body, different organs. For instance, anger and rage, it's stored in your liver and gallbladder. Fear and worry in your kidneys. Grief and or crying is stored in your lungs. Sadness is stored in your pancreas. Revenge, kidney, turns into stones. Stress, lack of joy, stored in your heart. Unforgiving is stored in your liver. Okay, so if you're thinking, well, it's a stretch, I don't know about this. I'm going to give you a couple of examples. One, well, first of all, I've learned a lot about emotions being stored in different parts of your body by getting acupuncture done. If you've ever had acupuncture, you'll know that they don't just look at whatever you're feeling, but they go to the root cause. What organ in your body is actually not working? Sometimes people go in to get acupuncture because their stomach is hurting, but then they're told that their kidney isn't working well. And you're like, no, I'm here for my stomach. And it's like, no, actually, your kidneys are not working well. And then you start thinking and you're like, oh my goodness, I've actually been very worried about a situation lately. Well, where does worry get stored? In your kidneys. And what happens when you're worried? What happens to your stomach? Don't you end up getting stomach pains when you're so worried that way? So it really does manifest in those ways. And as an example, if you follow me on Instagram, you might know this story already. So, but for those of you who might not know this story, my uncle had passed away 3 years ago, and it was very unexpected, the way he passed. So obviously very stressful, very sad. And then that was that. A couple weeks later, I ended up with this. If you can see this guy here, it's acne, but this type of acne grows like under your skin. So it doesn't, you don't get a whitehead. It can't release anything. It's just there. And it was extremely painful. Well, I started doing some research on face mapping. I knew about face mapping. That's, you can know, depending on where the acne is on your face, what the issue is. So if you have acne around your jawline, it means that you're having hormone issues. On your nose is your heart. On your cheek is your gut. And on your cheekbone, like high cheek, is lungs. And it was just the start of COVID. So I was like, oh no, like, am I sick? Like, what's going on? I was like, no, I'm fine. I don't have any issues. I'm breathing fine. So within that same, I believe it was the same day, I saw a post from this girl that was talking about how your body stores your emotions. And what it said was that grief is stored in your lungs. And I was like, what? Like, yes, I'm grieving. It's stored in my lungs and it's manifesting on my cheek because here is issues with your lungs. Mind blowing. So, as you'll see, there are certain essential oils that you can use on these areas of your body to help release emotions in a healthy way. And so I did that, and it was extremely helpful. Well, the beginning of May, I got it again, and like I felt it, and I was like, "What in the world? What is this?" And then I look at my calendar, and I realized it was that week that my uncle had passed away 3 years ago. It's amazing the memory that your body stores and how and where it stores these memories and these emotions. So, all of that just to explain what it is that goes on in your body. And from here forward, really pay attention to when you're not feeling well, what area of your body is not feeling well. And then pay attention to what you've been going through and see if that correlates. It will be very interesting when you start connecting dots. Okay, so what does all this mean? It means we have to take care of our emotional health in order to take care of our physical health. Minds and bodies are very, very connected. So let's get into some science stuff now. We have a part of our brain called the limbic system, which is referred to as the emotional brain as well. And when the limbic system or within it is, there's something called the amygdala, which is where we process our emotions. Okay. So limbic system amygdala emotions. Of our five senses, sight, touch, taste, hearing, and smell, smell is the only one that activates the limbic system. So that's why we use aromatherapy or smelling and breathing in oils. It's so very, very powerful to do that. You can diffuse or breathe in oils to open up the amygdala and process your emotions in a healthy way. So let's talk a little bit about the cells. We're made up, obviously, of an incredible amount of cells. And just like your brain, your cells also have a memory. But we have the power to make memories positive or negative. It's another story. If you've ever heard of AFT, I highly recommend it, Aroma Freedom Technique, because what it does is exactly that. It doesn't eliminate the memories that you have, but it almost it changes those memories that you have from negative to positive or neutral, we can say. It's really, really fascinating, and it's been a life changer for me. So the nucleus, which lives inside the cell, is the thinker. It tells the cell what to do. That's where DNA is produced. There's a doctor, Dr. Caroline Leaf, that said research shows the DNA actually changes shape according to our thoughts. As you think those negative things about future, week ahead, a person might say something, do something that worries you. Even in the absence of concrete stimulus, that toxic thinking will change your brain wiring in a negative direction and throw your mind and body into stress. And I mean, that makes sense, right? When you have, unquieting thoughts, is that a word? um, your body goes into stress mode. Pretty amazing stuff, right? So information must go through the cell and into the nucleus so that it stays in communication and keeps working properly. Okay. How does the information pass through? Through what's called receptor sites. But negative or fear-based emotions damage the receptor sites in your cells. So if you are needing to or want your amygdala to work properly, if it's being damaged, the receptor sites are now being damaged, how do you ever get out of that high stress, high emotional state? Well, just like toxic chemicals, so those are your processed foods, GMOs, smoking, beauty, a lot of ingredients in beauty products, synthetic chemicals, those block receptor sites, right? So that's a good sign, also a good thing to think about when to not use and intake these ingredients in these products, because we don't want those receptor sites to be blocked. But also fear-based emotions block those receptor sites. And when the receptor sites are blocked, your cells don't get the information they need. That's when disease takes hold on the body. If you have ever heard before, many people with cancer, they might have gone through something very traumatic earlier in their lives. And because that's stored in their body, it then can turn into disease. Even the condition I have, the syndrome, it's called polycystic ovarian syndrome, PCOS. They say that it can be linked also with trauma from like childhood. So whenever like something happens when you're a child and you don't know how to deal with those emotions, it gets stored in your body. But then what happens? Disease happens later on. It can take hold. Remember, 87 to 93% of disease comes through our thought life. So, okay, we understand this process now. We know how amazing our bodies are made. We understand the not wanting to block our receptor sites, right? What does that have to do with oils? Well, essential oils are made up of different constituents. Those are monoterpenes, sesquiterpenes, and phenols. Let's talk about these constituents now. For instance, phenols. What they do is they clean and repair receptor sites. So that means that the damage that our fear-based emotions cause can be cleaned and repaired by using essential oils. So just because you have these fear-based emotions, we're imperfect, and so we're going to feel them, but it can be cleaned and repaired. So let's talk about the oils that are high in these phenols. You have clove, acacia, basil, cinnamon bark, oregano, anise, peppermint, all very high in phenols to be able to clean and get your receptor sites ready to work again. How about sesquiterpenes? They bring oxygen to your brain. So this will help your amygdala, that's the emotion processing center of your brain, right, to work as it should. So when it comes to using oils for your emotional health, which is really your overall health, remember that 87 to 93% of disease comes from your thought life or your emotions. What do we look for? Oils high in sesquiterpenes. What are those? Those are your frankincense, cedarwood, vetiver, spikenard, sandalwood, black pepper, patchouli, myrrh, ginger, lavender. All of these are very high in sesquiterpenes. And these are actually all of them incredible for sleeping as well. So when you're in high stress mode, what happens to your sleep patterns? Not so good, right? So what we need is to bring oxygen to the brain, to the to the amygdala, and then it allows your body to relax and then obviously sleep better. So that's why these are so amazing um, for you to use in that, if that's what you're needing. And then monoterpenes are have healing properties, of course, but the most important job is that they reprogram miswritten information in the cellular memory, reprogram it. So when the coding in our DNA isn't what it should be, cells malfunction, that's when disease helps. Hashtag no thanks. So monoterpenes will help your DNA to get the coding that it needs to work correctly. So what are those oils? Those are your citrus oils: lemon, lime, orange, bergamot, grapefruit, tangerine. These are what we call happy oils. Happy oils. Whenever you're sad and you have any of those emotions, going for a happy citrus oil is always going to put a smile on your face. Why? Because if we go back again, we're reprogramming the sad thought to now be able to be happy. That's what these will help you to do. Now let's talk about oils and frequency to really understand how this works. When some people hear frequency, they might feel a little like scared off by it. However, literally everything has a frequency. When someone enters a room, you feel that's their energy, their frequency, and you're like, what are you talking about? Well, think about it. When someone has a very high energy, very bubbly, very outgoing, and they walk into a room, haven't you heard before? It's like everyone knows when you walk in the room, it's because of their energy, their frequency they literally put out. How about when someone's depressed and down and negative? You also feel that in the room. We all have frequencies. So oils operate at high frequencies and help your body to match those energies. So if you're down here, you need to bring it back up here. When you experience the emotion of joy, for example, your body vibrates at a certain frequency. So the good vibes only, it's actually a real thing. Your body vibrates to that frequency. So there's some amazing people at Young Living that created joy, which is an oil blend by using plants and flowers that create oils that vibrate at the same frequency our body does when we experience joy. So if you're sad, right, you're going through a sad situation and you don't want to stay sad, you want that joy in your life, but your frequency is now down here. You need the oil that will get your frequency back up to that joyful or at least not sad emotion. That's when joy comes in. So a lot of our essential oils are named with the emotion or whatever it is that we're needing, because they've been created with that in mind to bring back our frequency to wherever that emotion that we're needing to be at. So here's some oils for emotional health: the Feelings Kit, Valor, Harmony, Forgiveness, Inner Child Release, Present Time. There's a protocol for them, and it has you put these essential oils in the spots that you need to remember. We talked about specific spots that we store emotions. So it's a great kit to get for if you're needing that. Another one is Awaken, sorry. White Angelica. It says it protects against negative energy, seriously rocks for emotional health. Remember, we were talking about how you feel the presence of someone who is very negative, very depressed, or whatever it is. Well, if you don't want to be at that same frequency as them, then having White Angelica will help bring you back to that frequency so that it does not affect you as much. And then the founder of the company, Gary Young, he created his Good Day formula, which is putting valor on your wrists, joy over your heart, harmony on your solar plexus or your trunk, White Angelica on your crown and down. So these are all things you can use. Now you have your tools and you know how and where to use them. There are a few other favorite emotional support oils. One of them is Valor. So that's incredible to calm big feelings, to get through nervous moments like talks or being in front of big crowds. Sacred Mountain is a beautiful oil that helps, or you can apply on the bottom of your feet or the top of your head. Australian Blue is gorgeous. It's an underrated, lesser known emotional support oil. It has this beautiful blue tint to it, very light blue tint. It reminds me of, smells so beautiful, of Valor, but more of like a woodsy, like it's kind of more woodsy Valor. So what you can do is you just apply a drop on your hands and then do a sentent, which means you cup your mouth and nose with your hands and inhale. And it really gives such a beautiful, beautiful feeling. So then you have frankincense, king of all oils. If you need help with anything, grab frankincense for real. You can apply it on your forehead, shoulders, and then if you have head tension, I love adding a drop of frankincense to my thumb, putting it under the palate of my mouth, or you can do it on your tongue as well, roof of your mouth. Hold it for 20 seconds. It helps with head tension. So usually when you're going through a stressful situation, you feel head tension. This helps just soothe that for you. NLBS is Northern Lights Black Spruce. Guys love NLBS. It really helps ground you and then release. You apply this to your head, to your shoulders, over your liver, on the shower floor to help process and release emotions. Now, just warning, it is a very powerful oil. So if you are very emotional, you will be releasing emotion when you smell it. So just make sure you're in a spot where you can do that. Do it comfortably and allow your body to process it and release the emotions that it's needing to release. So I hope that this was beneficial and eye-opening for you. I hope that you learned something. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on all of this and if you are ready to use essential oils to help your body with emotions. I will be more than happy to help set that up for you. And that way you can process your emotions in a healthy way. Thank you so much for taking the time for watching this and look forward to talking to you soon. See you later.